about how we can take care of this.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, Carlos, are you back?
I'm ready to rock. What's cracking, guys? How you guys doing?
All right, let's get this started. Everybody, want to welcome you, Mr. Carlos Ruiz tonight. Special guest, one of our own. He's going to talk about his amazing journey over the last year, how he got started, what he has done, some of the challenges, some of the learning experiences, and a lot of the success. And then he's going to follow up by a Q&A period. So I'm just going to turn it over to Carlos, man. This is all yours. Welcome aboard.
Hey, thank you so much, Mitch and Richard. I appreciate it. What's cracking, guys? My name is Carlos Ruiz. I haven't met everybody, so I'm just going to introduce myself right now. I'm located in Palm Springs, California. If you guys need boots on the ground, grab my information. I'll put it in the side chat a little bit later. Located in Southern California, Coachella Valley, if you're not too familiar where Palm Springs is at. Fairly new to real estate. Got into it this year in January, midway. Previous to this business, I was in car sales. So I've been in and around sales negotiation for a while. Worked for Ford. Previous to Ford, I was with GM Motors. I've done some multi-level marketing, done door-to-door, business-to-business. So I've been around the game for a little bit, for at least for the sales and business side of it. So I really got introduced into this business about 2 years ago. I found out through a buddy of mine named Omar Lopez. He introduced me to, first off, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Financial Quadrant. So I got open to real estate a few years back. And then he introduced me to Brent Daniels and TTP. And so I started to, like a couple years ago, in like 2020, I started to learn a little bit about what wholesaling was. And I think I was like 2 or 3 weeks in listening to like a lot of podcasts and reading and doing some like YouTube University stuff. I was getting real interested. I was working at Ford at the time, and I wanted to transition into this. COVID had happened, and I wasn't doing the best that I should have at that time. So I ended up getting let go. And so I ended up shifting and not jumping into wholesaling. So I put it on the back burner, and I knew that one day I wanted to get back into it. So kind of like speed it up from me being let go in 2020. I started to get into like breeding French bulldogs. So I kind of just got into a hobby and started working for myself after I got let go. And so I really wasn't into like the corporate world anymore, wasn't in really sales. But at that time, I had like a paradigm shift, a transition in my mind, and I started to believe in myself. So for once, I started to become a high performer, and I started to get into personal development and self-education. I started to prime my mind, started to believe in myself. And so then my journey went on where I started to pick up books and pay for seminars. And though I wasn't working for corporate America anymore, I was just breeding dogs. I just knew one day that I wanted to get back into real estate. I wanted to be an investor, and I wanted to wholesale. It was something that I was real interested in. And so to speed up the process, we'll come up until January of this year. I had a buddy of mine, or Omar, the one I spoke to. He had already like a business with some VAs, and he knew that I was in sales for a lot of years. He knew that I was no longer in it. And so he goes, "Hey, did you ever want to try to get back into this?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." He said, "Hey, come over to my house. I got some VAs and some leads. Like, come close, come work with me. I know that you have like this entrepreneur mindset, so I don't plan for you to stay here for a long time, but if you're going to get into this, you might as well look at some of the systems that I use and tools, how to comp and run numbers." And so I was open to it. So I ended up going over to his house, and I was that type of person where the first phone call, I jump on the very first phone call and I closed the deal. And you know what? It was nothing different from anything else I ever did. It's just I was now learning what real estate was. And at this time, over the last 2.5 years, I was mature for once and responsible. I started reading, preparing myself. I had jumped into Grant Cardone Sales University training, even though I wasn't in corporate America anymore. I just knew one day I wanted to get in sales again. I loved it, wanted to be responsible and mature. So that's kind of been the journey. I started preparing myself for God knew what was to come. I guess this is it, right? And so closed my first deal. And, you know, I'm working commission based 20% as acquisitions manager, and I close it and I get like 9 grand on the deal. And so at the time I didn't really know too much about like real estate or the questions pertinent to it. This was like January like 17th or something, 16th or 17th, like a Monday. And so I didn't really know too much about it. But 1 week in, after calling so many people, it was nothing different from any other sales position or negotiation position I've been into. I've now, you know, realized all the questions to ask, or started to get a little bit more comfortable how to work numbers. So I ended up closing another deal. We net like close to 60 grand on that deal, and I get like close to 11 grand on that deal. So I ended up closing 2 deals in the like 10 days. At that moment, I had shifted onto my own. I was like 2 weeks in. So I was about to be like, I think it was like January, like 28th, 29th, and a video pops up on YouTube. At this moment, I only know who Brent Daniels is. I didn't know who Pace Morby was. I didn't know who Jamil was. Those guys are super awesome. I didn't know who they were at this time. A video pops up on YouTube, and Pace Morby's talking about, hey, wholesalers, are you having trouble? Yada, yada. Come over here, I'll show you, you know, like 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I don't know verbatim what he had said, but it was something that interested me, kind of like 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So me being a salesman and a closer for years, there was multiple ways to get a deal done. So with the money I just got, I ended up getting into SubTo. And, you know, I was trying to be a wholesaler the entire time. So at this moment, I was like a couple of days into finding out Pace Morby just turned into February. At this moment, I was learning about building my own business. So at that time, I was taking some time to learn the CRM systems, which calling tools, basically which systems that I want to pay for and pick up. And so I started jumping into the Zooms. So I didn't really go through like the SubTo modules. I started going to the Zooms really. And you know what I liked was, this is the first strategy that I got. And maybe not everybody did this first. It's probably why I was able to get a little bit of leverage on my side. But what I liked was Pace Morby, you know, he comes into a Zoom where the room gets filled up with people. And because he's not only a master at a lot of things that he does, but he's really good at closing, and closing a deal feeds everybody. Even though you can, you know, outsource that, doesn't mean you have to close it to get a deal done. But there has to be a close in there. So somebody has to do the acquisitions part. And since he's very skilled, so many people were willing to give him 50% of a deal or a whole deal for him to close the deal. And he had 100% of his own business. And so I like that idea. And I was like, wow, what a leverage, right? Everybody knows he's a closer. So everybody wants to give him the opportunity to close. And I mean, he's a badass, right? I thought that was massive leverage. It's like the Lonza method on like steroids, you know? And so the first thing I started to do was, hey, well, I worked for Omar Lopez, and I had known that I closed those 2 deals. What's up, Omar? He's actually in here, so he can tell you about that. But yeah, I ended up rolling into SubTo. Now I recognize, you know what? I like that I had those VA leads. I like that they were free for me. I came in and just closed them and made some money. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go and add like all the Facebook pages of wholesaling or real estate that I had. And what I did was I made a post. I copy and pasted a lot of stuff. You guys probably see me in social media. I'm very active on purpose, and you need to brand yourself. It's like there's a saying that, you know, build it and they will come. I think that's bullshit. It's really like build it and then build like a billboard right next to it so you can market yourself and they will come. That's the truth. So what I did was I then made a post saying, hey guys, I closed X amount of deals. I've been in here for like 2-3 weeks. Let me know if I can help you out and close your deals. I specialize in acquisitions. For whatever reason, I made it real gentle for everybody. I'm like, hey, if your 9 to 5 doesn't allow you to close a deal or call, you don't know how to overcome the objection, whatever it is, send them over to me. So what I started to do is then I created a Facebook page, a powerhouse. I wanted to create an accountability group and do my own daily dial. So I started to do that. And what I started to do was every day on every page, I started repeating that motion and copying and paste that post. I started to figure out that through time, I figured out the algorithm in Facebook that in each page, if you're not active, neither are your posts. So I had to repeat the process every day. And soon sooner or later, people started to come into the DM and started to, hey, can you try to close a deal? So we get closer to March. So I didn't really get any deals in February. Didn't get any deals really. But in March comes and I get somebody else in TTP that hits me up, and he lives in Detroit, and he had asked me if where I lived in California. I said Palm Springs. He asked me how close it was to Palmdale. And so I jump on a call with him, and he gives me the information. I get in there, and in a few days, I close another deal, and I make like $10,000 on that deal. And with that, this is what I thought. You know what? If I can just close people's deals, the only value I'm bringing is just feeding them a fish. I'm not doing anything more than that, meaning you guys who are going to give me these opportunities, you're always going to need somebody to do that for you, meaning you can never do it on your own, because if you're not learning how to do it, you're always going to have to give it some of it away for someone to close it. So then I thought, okay, well, if I have the powerhouse now, and I seen Pace more, where he closed a lot of deals and he's good, and he brings a lot of value, maybe this is what I'm going to start doing. And Jim Rohn is one of my biggest role models. He talks about bringing value a lot into the marketplace, and you bring enough value into the marketplace, and your finances will catch up to your value. And so I decided, you know what, I'm really good at closing, though I don't know real estate. So as I learn real estate, that'll be easy, because closing and talking, negotiating, all that is easy for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let everybody know, hey, come over into the powerhouse. I'm hosting role plays. I'm going to show you how I close deals. So first off, you feel comfortable sending me the deal. And so then you can hear me and be like, that guy sounds like he knows what he's doing. I want to give him the lead to close. But then I truly wanted to show other people how to close, so then I can give that extra value to show them how to fish, so then they can eat for a lifetime type of thing. It was till when I started bringing that type of value is when it started to really ramp things up. And so through that time, I was just trying to be a wholesaler still. I was really learning everything I could about creative financing, but not looking at it as an end buyer. I'm trying to wholesale. So this time it was like March. I had just closed I think my 4th deal. I wanted to ramp it up faster. I was running out of capital. Thought I was going to make it quicker than, at least faster than I thought, because of the way that I started, and had a little bit of shiny object syndrome. Started a couple of things but didn't follow through, but I continued to do acquisitions. And so as I get into, I think, April, I know that I'm running out of funds, and I know that I don't really have anything too solidified in the pipeline. And I start getting back into the activity of reposting and getting leads and opportunities, and then I pick up another deal. So that kind of helped me out, literally saved me on my bills and stuff. And so I'm over here stressing myself out, knowing I have this value, but I started to maybe let go of the pedal or something, or maybe started misguiding myself. I don't know what happened, but I started to lose momentum in what I was building. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to continue to bring more value, continue to role play, and continue to bring people in here. I'm going to see if I can bring more deals, and maybe I can do something a little bit better. And sorry, one second. So in May, I say, all right, fuck this. I'm going to go ahead and start looking at this as a buyer, right? Because as a wholesaler, shit's not working for some reason right now. I got to start looking at it as a buyer, where I can buy it any type of way. When that happened, shit got real for me. As I shifted, I started to look at stuff as a buyer. I started to post now, instead of I'm just closing, I'm buying now. And when you'll find out, if people don't know what the hell you're doing, or who the fuck you are, how are they gonna know what to send you or what value you're bringing? So I now started posting that I'm buying deals, even though I wasn't, because I knew that I can go to somebody who knows how to actually follow through the deal. I know how to close the deal, know how it looks good, but at this moment I was still a little bit nervous about, I guess, following through. Hey guys, what's the next step type of thing? It gets everybody nervous. You can know how to look at a deal and even make it look good, but if you never purchased it on your own, you're a little bit nervous. And I ran into this girl named Jada in SubTo. She hit me up as I'm starting to try to get into buying properties and acquiring properties, she wanted me to be boots on the ground. She was in like Airbnb arbitrage, and she wanted me to go to like Yucca Valley. I live in Palm Springs. It was like a 40-minute drive. And so at first I didn't really want to do it too much because I was looking at it as like, hey, well, I'm not really going to get a wholesale fee or some type of assignment out of it. I don't really want to do that. And I remember, you know what, at one point I might need someone to do it. This SubTo, let's do this. And so we tried the first week and it doesn't work. And on the second week, we go up there again and we try it a second time. Then the third time was the third week. And by that time, the fourth time, like, was the fourth week, and it was like closer to the end of May. And I was like, hey, do you think I could talk to the homeowner and see if we can kind of like solidify it up front? Well, we did. We locked it up. I go in there and take a look. And then she goes, hey, you want to be my partner on this deal for like locking it up? And as I started to look at it as an Airbnb and I got into this deal and she gave me equity, which was really, really cool. I didn't expect that. But because of her, it kind of, I started now to like, okay, now I got to look at things in Airbnb perspective right here. So I'm looking at it as I acquired this property. And that's when the shift happened. I didn't really look too much as wholesaling. I started to look, how can I do things as Airbnb and how to do long-term rental and wraps. At this point now, I did have a lot of people sending me leads. So I was getting a lot better at what I did. I had a lot of opportunities, and I came across a guy named Brad Young. He's now like my mentor. He's a partner like on 9 properties with me, a lender on the property that I have with Jada as well. And you know what happened? I had a great mentor that showed me some stuff. He showed me some wraps, like pretty deep into wraps and selling notes. And there was opportunity that he had for me to see if I can close for him. And I come back and I said, hey, this seller is open to seller finance, but I think it's a shitty deal. It's like in a market an hour from Atlanta. It's like 900 people in there. And it's like a manufactured home that's not, it's nice. It's just, it was, you know, there's no equity. It was built last year. They're like three months behind. It's like a 9.15% interest rate. It didn't seem too juicy for me. And I was thinking it as long-term or short-term. I'm like, who's going to drive out of the way? Small market, less than 1,000 people. I told him I'm not interested in it. It doesn't sound good. And he goes, man, we can make like 40, 50 grand on that deal if we wrap it and stuff. I was like, no shit. And I was like, what do you mean? And he explains a little bit. And I'm like, oh shit, dude, I get so many fucking deals that like are like this. I never looked at it as a wrap, and I love wraps now, specialize in them. But I never looked at it as a wrap. And so what I did is I said, hey, Brad, do you mind? This is where I leverage myself again, guys. You guys don't know how to walk through stuff to get it done, right? So I knew how to close and look at deals, but when I started to understand that, oh, I wasn't paying attention to this type of strategy. What other stuff was I not looking at? What else can I look at differently? And so when I found out that Brad was pretty well off in understanding strategies, I'd asked him, hey, can I bring you more deals that I had let go? And if I could buy them on terms because they were open, would you be willing to partner with me and walk me through? But this is what I want to do. I want to do all the legwork. I just want you to answer my phone call and tell me yes or no or what's next, so then I can truly learn. And you're going to get like, you know, half of the deal from really just answering a phone call and doing it. And when he said, dude, absolutely, I like that. And I learned a shitload of shit. And in between like the last like 6-7 weeks, I probably got like 9 properties. I have 10 now. But I was able to pick up so many properties because here is the first thing. The first strategy that I learned wasn't SubTo, seller finance, wraps, anything. Pace Morby leveraged himself. And so he had this community. Everybody knew he was a closer. Everybody knows I'm going to send him the deal to close it. So that was the first thing I did. I went and built a community. And I started bringing value, though I had none at first. And so the powerhouse who was with me, they were with me when I was doing things like not as proficient or efficient or as effective as I am today, but they stuck with me. And I have some cool scenarios, and some of these guys are in here that we have some testimonies that we can talk about. It's very cool. But they stuck with me when I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was believing that I knew what I was doing and studying and trying to do this. And so at this moment now, I had leverage where everybody was sending me deals. And so I was getting to sticky situations, all hot leads. So I was literally on phone calls that were deep conversations with real sellers. So that's the real practice that you need to get better. And then there was nothing even better than putting yourself in a position to get busy and have that many deals for then you to bring it to a mentor who can analyze it the way that you can't see it in the mirror. And that made it so, it ramped me up, because here's the thing. Everybody in here can have a mentor. There's probably a lot of people that get mentored in here from other people in here, but you know what, you're doing yourself a disservice is if you don't put yourself out there and get yourself busy. What is it to bring one deal to this mentor and just one deal a month? How much do you think you're really going to learn, especially if you don't achieve that deal? How much do you really think you're going to learn with that broken up pattern? The reason why I started to master things and got into, I got a couple of home run deals that I'll talk about how much like we got on some of these deals. But the reason why I had that opportunity is because I leveraged myself, built a community, brought value. Everybody was feeding me deals, everything. I didn't pay anything out of my pocket. No VAs, no leads, nothing like that. They started coming in hot. I started bringing value, showing people that I could do this live. We started closing deals live. More deals were coming in. And then I had somebody who was very experienced to bring deals to 3 to 4 times a day and brainstorm. And so that was a reason why I started to strategize quicker, because I had the opportunities. There's a saying that it's best to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity arise and not be prepared. And I was prepared for some shit like this. I was studying for the last 2.5 years for no reason. I was in corporate America. I was just breeding dogs. Didn't know what. I just knew one day I was going to come crush it. 2 years ago, when Omar introduced me to TTP, and when I had told you guys that out for like 3 weeks, I was studying, and then I got let go from work. When I got let go from work, I learned about tithing, and I remember I tithed to Omar, and I remember I wrote a note to him. And when I got let go, I had like $1,100 on my last check, and I like gave him like 10%. It was like $100. And the reason why I came up with the tithing is I was listening to TTP and on podcasts and the book I had purchased. It was like the Go Givers or 4 Seasons. I forgot what it was, but it talks about tithing. I never knew about it. It goes into detail. That was like a Monday. On a Tuesday, I was listening to a podcast, and it breaks down something about tithing. And then Wednesday was like March 16th. I got let go from work. I used to work with a gentleman in here. His name is Ben Martinez. He's now with the Powerhouse. Cool story about him too, but he was there. He had seen me get let go, and I remember just thinking, you know what? On Monday and Tuesday, I heard about tithing. On Wednesday, my coworker was ministering, talked about tithing. So I get let go. When I get let go, and I have this $1,100 check, I remember calling one of my best friends and telling him, okay, I think I got to try something on my own. I think God's telling me to tithe as well. I don't know what the hell tithing is, but I know that you give, something financial to somebody who maybe has given you spiritual food. So it doesn't need to be church, but somebody introduced you maybe to something that might change your life. So Omar introduced me to Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? He almost like revolutionized my mindset with that book. He just introduced it. I did the reading, right? He didn't do the reading for me. But then he introduced me to TTP and wholesaling, and I knew one day I was going to get good at it. So in the note, I had wrote in there, and I said, hey man, I just want to tithe to you because you introduced me to something that's going to change my life. And when I come back into this, I'm going to come and crush it. I'm going to come and kill it. And the first day I get into it, 2 years later, I ended up working with him, and I crushed him the first phone call. Since then, I've done like 8 wholesale deals and purchased 10 properties. I've helped 6 or 7 other people get their first deal organically within the Powerhouse. When I closed the deal for the TTP student in Detroit, I closed a deal with him. I jumped on a phone call introducing myself because I like doing the Lonza method, right? I wanted to get more leads. I was talking to a lot of people. There's a guy named Josh Keating in here, and that's my boy right there. But Josh, I am on a phone call here. I'm building relationships because I know at some point, if he knows that I'm good on the phone, then I'm going to get an opportunity to close this deal. Well, I ended up getting that deal signed that I locked up for the guy in Detroit. And while I'm on the phone, I'm talking to Josh, getting the first time, trying to just introduce ourselves. We're talking, I get the signature, and Josh starts saying, yeah, I got some buyers. I'm doing dispo. I'm trying to find out who Josh is. And he goes, yeah, I have a buyer that, pays like 90% of ARV minus repairs. Josh was a little bit newer than I was at that time. And I asked him if he knew what that meant. He goes, no. I said, dude, that's valuable. I was like, you want that guy on your side, man. I was like, where is he buying? And he literally is mapped out like where I got this deal locked up. So I say, hey, Josh, go and send this out. Let's see what's up. Like, I wouldn't mind helping you out, man. Like, I'd love to just see that. I wanted to be a go-giver. I wanted to bring more value. And at that time, too, I knew that I already had buyers. I didn't have to do that, but I knew that if I was going to bring value, it was more of a longevity type of play, that I would get stuff more in return back, value back my way. So Josh ends up, that buyer declines it, but Josh ends up finding a buyer like less than 24 hours. The guy is literally 1 block away from there. He lives there 1 block away and buys it at 88%. And we make money. And Josh what organically got his first deal within the powerhouse, and now Josh organically owns 7 doors. And he didn't go to SubTo to learn how to do that. He didn't go to, he's organically learned with us right here in the powerhouse, which is super cool. And there's a lot of people in here that in the powerhouse that got their first deal with us. There's a gentleman, I'm not sure if he's in here, Gio Giles, I'm not sure if he's in here, but I purchased his home 5 weeks ago, heard his story from digging into the pain, feeling his story, and I'd asked him if he was willing to change his life and if there was a way that he could purchase homes the way that I did, basically for free, just for learning the strategy, if he was willing to do it just to be able to feel worthy again to his family and however he wanted to feel again, because he had his own story. And he committed to it. He's been my student now for about 4 weeks, and he's close to buying his first home in here as well. Testimony. We have a lot of people in here that what's crazy is I took a lot of action. I started learning SubTo and seller finance in June or July. I didn't try to be a buyer till May, and that's when shit ramped up. But I built a community first. That was the first strategy I did. And then here's the reality. I live a different lifestyle. So like a few years ago, I've been sober for about 2 years, 9 months. So I've overdosed. I have alcohol poisoning. I've flatlined, blood transfusion, been addicted like 3 times over, relapse. Ben Martinez has literally seen me. We used to work at Ford. Check this shit out. I was always the last salesman at Ford. I was a great closer because my brother was our closer when I was on the team. So he taught me greatness. He taught me how to negotiate, but I partied too hard. I was always on a lot of cocaine and alcohol every single day. Fucked up every day for a lot of years. I ruined a lot of opportunities for myself. And so I remember when I wanted to go sober, I told Ben that, hey, Ben, I'm going to go sober. I'm going to change my whole life. That's when I started reading over the last 2 years and paying for programs and stuff. But Ben always saw me as, yeah, he knew I can close, but he knew that I was, at that time I was a little more irresponsible. I was partying hard and I was always last, and he was always at the top. Always top performer, always being number one in sales. Well, over two years, as I started to get into real estate, he'd seen me for 2 years go sober, try to change my life. I try to do everything possible that I can to try to make it. It wasn't because I got into real estate that these 8 months you see my life change. No, I've been trying for a while now. I lost my mind so many times that I went sober in December 26, 2019. I was so fucked up on alcohol and cocaine. I was at that point in my life too. I had already I've done it too many times over. I lived a different lifestyle, and I was willing to change. While I was really fucked up, I just remember how addicted I felt for the last time. And if you've never had a craving before that you get this urge, it's really bad. And I remember when I was already down and out and broke and drunk, and it was during that current moment while I was really high on fucking cocaine and a lot of alcohol. And I remember my roommate at the time was sitting at our dining table, and I was broke and we were out of drugs, and I really wanted to ask him if he can get us another sack of drugs. And if he can put my ends, because I was broke. But I was too embarrassed to ask that. But I was so addicted that I repeated that fucking action like 7 times in my head. And I think that was it. that broke me, because at that time I had already gone through everything: overdosing, alcohol poisoning. I even, when I was drunk and stuff, I got down with some cops, laid one out, and I got beat up like Rodney King. They like knocked me out twice, broke my ribs, dislocated my shoulder. I lived a totally different lifestyle for a lot of years. And well, even up until this year, I still lived it until I transitioned. But I've been sober since then, since December 26, 2019. That moment when I felt that addicted, I knew that this was it. I made a decision to never do this again, and that I was going to change my whole life and mindset to make it. I could never do this again. I wanted to dream and win. And so at that moment, I spoke to God, and I didn't believe in God, and I was more atheist than anything, because I was more depressed and hated life. But at this moment, I knew this, that he was always by my side when I was never by his, and I felt ashamed of myself. And so I made a commitment to him right after, when I was going sober, that when I was really drunk at that moment, and I speak to him and I say, I met some people who are happy and who are successful, and they know you, and I know that that there are some people who do Lent, and it's like 40 days of them disciplining themselves, giving away something that they enjoy the most to show discipline to the Lord. And so I told God, at this moment, I'm going to give away everything that I can to show you how committed, and I just want you to show me the signs, show me the opportunity, allow me to take that opportunity, but I'll be prepared for that. I want to change my life, and I'm willing to do this. So from December 26th to January 1st, I had already stopped doing drugs and alcohol. I smoked a lot of weed. I still smoke weed. But January starts, and so I let go of red meat and pork. So no more alcohol, no more drugs, no more red meat and pork. And I do this for 3 months, right? So then the next 3 months, it hits March. From January to March, I was only eating chicken, fish, and no more drugs or alcohol. March comes, I let go of poultry. So I'm pescatarian. So I'm going incrementally giving away everything that I'm enjoying, everything that I really like and what I love, to show the Lord that I'm trying to discipline. I didn't know what to do. So that's how bad I was in my mind. I didn't know what to do. I try to make a plan with him and a commitment, try to side with him to see if he can help me out. And so then June comes, and then July, August, September, and then I let go of fish. I'm vegetarian and all this stuff. And so, or wait, I go vegetarian in June, I believe, till I believe October. And when October comes, at that moment, I let go of drugs, alcohol, red meat, pork, chicken, fish. And now I'm going to go vegan. But what I first do, because it's my last 3 months, now I turn it the fuck up. And I'm like, I'm going to now let go of every single thing. So I go in and fast for 7 days until I get really sick, because I couldn't handle that type of pressure on my body. I didn't eat for 7 days, just drank liquids. And then right there, I went vegan. I stopped smoking weed. I let go of any sex or masturbation. I found meditation, and I went into a 90-day meditation phase through said guru. It's called Isha Kira. And I went into this phase where I started to train my subconscious mind and prime myself and start to believe that I was going to make it. I'm going to figure this shit out. And I don't think you got to do that. But where I was in my life, I just didn't know what the fuck to do anymore. And so in that process, I lost my mind trying to figure out who the fuck I am and who I'm going to become. And so like I say, you might not have to do that, but it was something that I did, that commitment and that power, and it changed my whole life. I opened up my life. I became a humble person. I see things differently. I'm a man of God now. I became a Christian. And I don't preach any of that stuff, but what I'm saying is, how I said, I was never there for him and he was always there for me. I really feel it now, especially with what's going on in life now and how I see things and getting in proximity. I had to do a lot. People really thought that this has happened over 8 months. You know what happens when you become this positive person, when you become this optimistic believer in yourself, and you truly start to believe and train your mind that you're going to make it in life, is you'll still learn that you make mistakes while you're going out there trying to learn. And sometimes you get hurt about it. And here's what else happens. none of your fucking friends do what you do. Nobody's positive like that. So you become uncommon. It's like David Goggins talks about. You become this uncommon person where now I've become motivated. I was from the streets. So now I'm this motivated person out here preaching to the world what I'm trying to do. I started projecting my life, documenting it because I truly believed that one day I was going to make it. So there's a lot of shit that recently I started posting on my social media just to remind people that this wasn't overnight. I started writing about this shit 4 years ago, speaking about it 3 years ago, started priming my mind, dedicated my whole life trying to make it, going sober, trying to figure it out, lose my mind, right? When I was breeding French Bulldogs, I was also doing some illegal activities behind the scenes, and I got even better at it because now I was professional. I took some sales and business courses, and I took it to the streets. I made a lot of money. I took a big loss in December, lost like 50 grand in December. What happened in January, the reason why I came into wholesaling it and everything is because I was almost like forced into the shift almost. As I was breeding dogs, going through all that depression and addiction and going sober, I had gotten into breeding French Bulldogs. They came to me at a point of an emotional saving. I was really down, so my dogs came and saved my life. I have a lot of dogs, and I take care of them. They're all raw foods. They have their own room. I learned about how to keep them alive the longest, and I heard this, since they came and saved me, like my life emotionally, and there was a saying where it was like a dog is in your life, only part-time, but you're the entire life of the dog. And I wanted to make sure that these dogs are going to live the longest life, and so I do everything that I can. So I had one of my dogs ended up getting liver cancer in January. It was like really bad for me. It was really, really sad for me. And he ended up not making it. And so I remember when he passed away, not only was they're expensive because I was breeding them, not only it was like $9 grand. I tried to save his life, and it was like 11,000 to try to save him. It was a $20,000 loss. I didn't have the proper contracts in place, and I wasn't able to get refunded anything. So I lose the dog mostly emotionally first is what hurts me. And I have an illegal business that I'm working behind the scenes besides breeding. So I was making a lot of my money doing that stuff. And I noticed that one of my employees was not able to get to one of my clients. And so me being after all this sales training and programs and everything, though I wasn't in corporate America, I was using it in the streets. And so it really worked, but I was a good customer service guy. So I go right after I just buried my dog, drive back to San Diego. I'm feeling distraught. I go in and I go and make a run real quick to do an order that my employee couldn't get to, somebody that I knew. Well, I get robbed at gunpoint right after I bury my dog. I go and do this thing, and I lived a different lifestyle. It was completely different. I was more about some other shit, and I get robbed at gunpoint. Me losing my dog, I didn't give a fuck. I was in a bad mood. I said, "You're making a mistake. You're fucking with the wrong person." It wasn't until they pulled the gun, they cock it back and point it at your face, and then pull a semi-automatic out the back seat of the car, and you're done. And my life wasn't worth that. And so I let go of everything. I get robbed. I get home, and I feel distraught. I get robbed again. I get robbed again like 2 days later, and then I connect with Omar, and I close my first deal on the first phone call, and I knew God was talking to me. God was telling me that you got to shift. And so people think that it was easy for me, that this shit's been played out for me, that this has been overnight, and I've really been trying to, that I've had this happen for me. It wasn't. It was harder behind the scenes. I left with a whole bunch of losses. I got robbed for like 200,000, and I was in some debt with some high water with some wrong people, and I ran out of funds, and I'm over here shifting and no longer in that business. So I'm no longer producing cash flow, bank on myself with whatever little money I had left. And I planned to make it in 3 to 4 months, because I closed with Omar in the first, month, but I worked in his business. I was already functional. I was trying to build mine. So when April came and I already ran out of funds, So then I went on to extensions, right? I was late for once. I took screenshots of all my fucking credit cards. I haven't been able to pay them for 3 months. They're all negative $300-400. I dropped like 93 credit points. I couldn't pay my rent like on time for the last couple of months. I just paid my last month's rent like last week, and I haven't even paid this month's rent. I have literally like, I'm just going through arguments with with my landlord and possibly could be evicted. I mean, I feel emasculated as a man as you guys see me posting my little wins and shit, and you think I'm really fucking a stunner over here and I'm winning, but you truly don't know the fucking struggle that I'm really going through. I just couldn't give up no more. I didn't want to feel like that. I've made money before, and then I've been a broke man and an addicted broke man, and I don't want to ever do that again. And so I couldn't stop. So there should be no excuses after hearing some shit like that. There are a lot of people out here that have gone through worse, and some out here that haven't gone as bad. But in all that time frame, I was living a real lifestyle behind the scene while trying to figure my life out right now. And this is where I'm at. You know, I take massive action. I live in this imaginary system. It's there's a term for it. It's living in the present future, where all I do is I daydream now. I believe so deeply. I live in this imaginative state where I fantasize that I'm already at where I'm at. You know what? There's no difference. Your mind does not know the difference when you believe that deep and you consistently, you affirmate and you subconsciously train your mind to act like you're already there. I felt like the only difference from my goals and me is just time. Like I said, I came prepared for this shit. I didn't know what I was preparing myself for. Did not know I was going to get into real estate, but I thank Omar for introducing me to it. He didn't have to put the fucking legwork for me. He didn't have to read or study or close deals for me, but he introduced me to the subject, and I'm forever thankful for that shit because I'm here to crush it. And I told them that 2 years ago. I wrote it in a note that one day I want to say thank you because one day when I get into this space, I'm going to blow this shit up and I'm going to be known by everybody. And it was my belief system. And not to be rude, even if my mentors, even if my role models out there were to just to tell me, hey, Carlos, I know that you're going to make it. The upfront truth is I don't need anybody's validation to tell me if I'm going to make it or not. Not trying to be rude. It's just that behind the scene, I've been working hard every single day. I don't like to read. I read 5.5 books last month. You know what I introduced? Ed Milet. Well, I didn't know who the hell he was until this year. Read his book twice already. Saw him at 2 seminars and introduced his 21-day schedule. This is how I look at life, right? I'm not naturally talented and I'm not naturally gifted. So I got to work extremely hard over and over just to get shit done, right? So in today's era, you got to consume a lot of information as fast as possible. I'm not gifted. So how I see it is, fuck it. If we're 9 to 5, you and I, if you're a W-2 or you work for yourself, if we're working 9 to 5, we're in the same fucking boat right here. No matter if we're right here today and then a year from now, we both progress, we're in the same boat. So how I see it is, okay, I got to outwork you because I'm not naturally talented and gifted. So I wake up at 4 in the morning and then I wake up, meditate, I pray, take a cold shower, go work out for an hour and a half, right? And then I go and fucking read for an hour and a half, write my affirmations, and then my 9 to 5. Now we're a 9 to 5 together. And then probably after 5 o'clock, you're probably going to go chill with your family. You're probably going to do something, go drink with your boys, whatever the fuck you're going to do. I just know that you're not going to outwork me. So I'm going to go and study till 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, right? Like some of you guys on the East Coast listening to us now, and it's 9 or 10 over there. I'm grinding to those times as well. Here's the thing. If you are on my level of grinding, if you are competing with me at that level, I'm going to out-discipline you. So I went back into my discipline where now I'm vegetarian again. So 4 months ago, okay, you know what? I got to restructure myself. Fuck it. I'm going to go back and start taking away. If I'm not already outworking other people, if people are on my level of outworking me and going the distance, and I'm going to out-discipline them as well. They're not going to fucking beat me. I'm not naturally talented, so I'm going to fucking put all the work ethic into this motherfucker. And so now I'm back to vegetarian. I let go of a lot of things. I'm redisciplining myself because now if you're going to outwork me and you're going to work with me during everything else I'm doing, then I'm going to out-discipline you as well. You're going to have to really outwork me and chase me to catch me sometimes. And that's where I'm at right now. This is the mindset that I have now. I changed my whole life, the whole trajectory of my life. I'm out here fighting, struggling, trying to make this shit. I went through so much stress that like, last Sunday, I had a grand mal seizure in my sleep. My lady found me. I like almost ripped off my tongue, and it was so bad that I dislocated my shoulder and my labrum. I tore my labrum, and I had done it a long time ago. Had in sports, I had dislocated it, but I had re-dislocated it. And what was fucked up was when I came back into consciousness and everything, there was already paramedics here, and I was nervous. And I didn't know my shoulder was hurting because I was coming into consciousness. So I got combative with them. Basically, they like tackled me and strapped me down, and I felt like I had to throw up, and I was real scared, screaming. There's a lot of shit happening with me. This was just last week. So if you think that it was really that easy, I mean, I figured out I got some health issues. I probably wasn't taking care of myself. I have a lot of stress. There was a lot of things. There's a lot of fucked up things that I did in the past, and that's kind of my journey, guys. I just wanted to lay it out to you guys and let you know that it wasn't always easy, but I also know that I got people that I got to bring value to. So I got to make them know that everything's possible. So I don't always got to show them what's going on behind the scenes, but I got to let them know the struggles every once in a while, because this is the journey. This is where you learn everything, is through the struggle. And I didn't decide to get scared this time. I decided to take massive action. I didn't want to be another story where I was going to say, hey, I'm on my 4th year and I finally started crushing it, because I was too fucking scared to go and do things. I made a lot of mistakes. You know what was fucked up is I almost got sued in one of my deals. I think Norma's in here. I almost lost her money, Gator money on the deal. I mean, I had to draft a memorandum on a deal. I've gotten sick to my stomach and almost was a bad financial steward. And I made those mistakes because I didn't know Brad at the time or other people who were more experienced, and I was just willing to do shit. It was like I was willing to take action, and I made my mistakes through it. So I also fucked up. And, you know, I just didn't get scared this time. That was it. I wasn't a pussy anymore. I wanted to win so bad. I had already pushed so hard and everything else. I knew that this wasn't going to stop me anymore, that nothing was going to stop my goals or my dreams. And that's where I'm really at. I really just want to bring value to others. And there's no better feeling than showing other people how to survive and how to do it at a high level. And the truth is this too, it's who you guys learn from. Like, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, right? And if you guys don't know how to be a high performer, it's maybe who you're learning from. You should think about who you learn from. Like, there's a saying, like an analogy, like it's, you know, there's a lot of ways to cut a tree, and like you can cut one with an axe. It just, you know, it takes a lot of time, energy, and labor. Or let's say you learn from somebody else who shows you how to cut with a chainsaw. It's just so much easier. You really got to learn from somebody who's already crushing it. And then, you know, put yourself in a position to busy, right? Go and put your name out there, brand yourself. Go and get fucking good for once. Go and be responsible. Do yourself a fucking real service out there. Stop acting like you're immature now. Like, and the crazy thing is, Brad didn't have to spoon feed me either. Like, in my powerhouse, I spoon feed people. I break this shit down like Pace breaks it down to us. Real like that. You know how Brad teaches me? I'll bring him a deal and he just brainstorms out loud. Oh, that's a lot of money down. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That seems like a good deal, but we could do it like this. He never really broke it down the way Pace does or the way I break it down. There's no reason for you guys to be that fucking nervous. It's that easy. And now that I'm leveraged and now I understand the strategies, I really plan to fucking crush it. I mean, as well, I got over, you know, 7 figures in assets now. I'm excited for what's to come in the future. This is just the beginning for me. And I'm fired up, and I hope I fired you guys up. I'm sorry I went on my rant, but there was a lot of shit I had to drop.
Carlos, thank you. That is an amazing story and an amazing journey. People, we're going to do a Q&A session now, so raise your hands and Carlos will start to address those questions. Carlos, what are the biggest lessons you've learned in the past 2 years that some of the newbies can use to ramp it up?
Yeah. Don't be a pussy. I'll be frank with you guys, meaning like, don't be scared to go after your fucking dreams. The reality is all your friends and family and your mom, all of them, they forget the dream, because what happens is reality hits and other people's opinion becomes their reality, and you never hear anybody speak like me or speak like other people like yourself who have goals and dreams. So dream big. right? You know what else I've learned is that you don't have to be good at something to start at something. You don't got to be great at it. You get me? Meaning go and start and then become great. So don't get fucking nervous. Like you might not be great right away. Oh well. Oh well. Right. And another thing is I know that dreams come true when you work hard at them. And the thing is, you really got to try other things. If it's not working for you now, I just revealed kind of like my mindset on how I think now, right? Maybe you guys should revamp your mindsets, maybe reprogram yourself, have a paradigm shift. If you're not a student, go and try to become one. Because I tell you this, my life didn't change until I became a student of life. It wasn't like I don't think I would have got this far if I didn't become that student that I became, forcing myself to read and go to programs and do all these things, right? Those are a few lessons that I definitely intrigue you guys to get into is literally go out there and become the best student and work extremely hard. Outwork people. You feel like you're not naturally talented. Some of you guys probably aren't. Go and outwork some people and watch things change for you.
Beautiful. Do we have questions? Let's get some questions for Carlos.
Okay. Who let's see.
Rafael's got his
Rafael, go for it.
What's cracking, yo?
What's up, Carlos? What's up, man?
What's up, man?
So I was gonna say, how are you so amazing, bro?
Bro, I was a piece of shit. That's why. If you ever hit rock bottom and become a piece of shit, you know you don't know where else to go. The only thing that I saw was the light at the end of the tunnel, and I finally went for it. I got humbled. That's what happened. So
I feel you, man.
Grace of
No,
God.
I just wanted to kind of share my experience with Carlos as well, being in some of the group chats that we've been and stuff, and I really felt like whenever he does say something, he actually commits to it and gets it done, right? And not a lot of people do that. I've seen it. He's inspired me in the past. A lot of times, actually, he's helped me out a lot. He's truly a giver. And I know you're going to continue crushing it, Carlos.
You are too, bro. I'm showing you how to cut trees with chainsaws, homeboy. You're going to start cutting them real quick. Don't worry about it. Just put the work in, not rocket science.
Mark Chang.
Hey, how's it going? Let me pull over and be respectful and cautious. Let's see. We'll make sure I pull over. Hey, Carlos. Great to hear your story, man. For many reasons. I think one of the main ones is just the honesty. A lot of times that I think we wonder how we get here, if it's by accident. And when I hear your story, I don't think there's a lot of accidents here. A lot of similarities, the sobriety journey, the spiritual journey, the commitment and the sacrifice. A lot of these things, it's not one, it's just a combination of these. And like you said, this thing is not rocket science. You do certain things and you get certain results. And if you have the right mindset and you believe in them and commit to them, you start finding people along the way that align with that. I'm very grateful to be able to hear your story today, get to speak with you last time. And I really appreciate George Mahoney pointing me in your direction. I can see why a lot of us, are friends through this. I love the fact that you have this amazing story in the community. I'm only 3 months in, a little bit over 3 months, and it's a lot to aspire for. So I appreciate your story. My question is, what do you think your biggest goal here is for the next year?
To retire my whole family. I already figured that out, that once you can figure out how to monetize in a monetary system, go after what's going to fulfill you. I already figured out I became a wealthy man. I'm going to go after chasing my dreams, right? I have dreams with my mom and them, my brother and them, right? And I don't want to be that person on my deathbed or where they're on their deathbed, me dreaming that I could have done it faster. Like, I envision myself in scenarios where I'm going to be very wealthy and I'm willing to outwork people and put the work in. But the thing is, I need to see those dreams happen. I've seen a lot of people die recently. A lot of people close to me and their parents die recently, and they couldn't achieve the goals and dreams with them. And there are just some visions that have to be played out. Those are my biggest reasons why. My actual team knows about this because I talk about it a lot. But I'm out here trying to retire my family because that saying that you are who your friends are, right? Who you are, who you hang out with. I had to shift. I had to leave behind all the homies who I used to eat at the bench seats with, right? To be able to go and do this because they don't do that. But I created so many memories and I love them so deeply that I'm coming back for them, you know, and I'm willing to do that because this is my life first off. And I'm going to exit the way that I want to fucking exit. And so if I want my friends to be around me, then I'm going to force them to get wealthy, right? I mean, for my mom and my brother, you know how hard it is for me to fucking buy a deal now? If they were to get in my lap, it could take me 30 minutes now to analyze it, buy it, get a lender in place. I'm already starting to build portfolios to then replace my brother's income and my mom's, and now I'm going to retire them on their birthdays next year. These are just my goals, right? That's my goals. I have another one. I just created a multifamily team. One of my partners, he has 600 doors. He partnered up with Tom Swan, Stan Lopez, Brad Young, Arturo. We put together a team together. We're going after commercial now. We have a goal of 1,000 doors by 2023. And so putting myself in a scenario to become a busy person and put myself around proximity of others already doing it, you might figure out that you're going to get seen, and you might see people might like your hustle and might want to work with you. And so I got picked up by, I put together a team of basically my mentors. I learned how to do raps and all my strategies through Brad, like my notes. I learned how to do my Airbnbs that I have through Tom Swan. He's part of the program. I'm learning how to underwrite through with Stan. And then Arturo has the 600 doors and showing us all how to do the commercials. So it's cool for me to form a team, even have that opportunity to ask them if they would like to partner with me, and all of them say yes. And so one of the goals is 1,000 doors by 2023 by December, and then a few other things. But there's so many goals I have. But really, I want to get my family set straight, and that's what I'm excited for, that change their lives.
Well, man, I wish you the best and continuance on the journey, the sobriety journey, the spiritual journey, the service journey. Excited to continue to see you to grow here. You know, your honest story today, I think it was a little different from our conversation the very first time. And it's kind of cool to see you in this light, because when we talk, you don't just put yourself out there as just like, I'm just this all the time. So this is a very, it's a gift to hear you be so transparent and very, very honest in this format. So I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was a piece of shit for a long time, you know, and I got to live two different lifestyles and a lot of opportunities. I explained all the overdosing and flatlining, but I had opportunities to look at life now, and it's worth living, not just existing. And so I'm gonna go prove it to myself, and I'm gonna go chase everything I ever looked for. So I'm excited.
Well, I pray you continue to walk the journey. People like myself that are also on that sobriety journey, you know, looking up to others that are doing it. And I think because you've had that experience of failing so much in so many different things, you've built this very thick skin, right? And it's amazing how you utilize all the mistakes that you've done before to build the foundation of this, I don't know if you want to call it empire or whatever you're trying to call it, but it was definitely founded on learn by doing, right? You failed more times than most people even thought about trying, right?
The streets.
$200,000.
I hustled hard, man. So you know what? I got into it at a young age. I started smoking at 12 and drinking at 13 and getting into all the heavy drugs. And by 18, I had already overdosed. And so I started real young at things. You know, I lived very quickly, lived a different lifestyle. There's a guy named Anthony right here. He's working out in the gym. Says Anthony's iPhone. We grew up in the street together. We're both active as shit. He's now part of the powerhouse. I get to change people's lives. What I'm surprised is Ben Martinez, #1 car salesman at Ford, and I'm the fucking last one, is part of my fucking team now. Out here, quit his job as a breadwinner, 6-figure earner to come fuck with me, right? That's fucking awesome to me. Who does that shit when you're the #1 fucking car salesman? I'm over here fucking last in place, but he believed in what I told him I was gonna do. I was gonna go sober and figure my life out. Now Ben Martinez is my go-to. He's into gator lending. He branded himself. He's crushing it. There's so many people within the powerhouse that have killed him. There's so many people in here that I actually know personally that it's super dope. There's enough testimonies within the 8 months that we've done this to just let you guys know that everything's fucking possible. Not just closing deals, not just buying deals. You could teach people, help people, leverage yourself. I'll be leveraged from here on out. No stopping me.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, I want to shout out to George Mahoney once again. I didn't 100% comprehend why he asked me to reach out to you. I thought it was mechanical, your sales skills, maybe your achievements, but through your story today, I can really see why he actually introduced us. So yeah, man, continue to do your thing, bro. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Omar, because he introduced me to George, and so then it was the reason why I met you then. So thank you, Omar, for introducing me.
Yeah, thank you, Omar.
Thank you, Mark. Great questions. Brandon, evening.
All right, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's up, bro?
Awesome. Hey, no, it's definitely an inspirational story that you shared. So thank you very much for that. I think that's like the biggest thing is that mental shift, that mentality shift, right? So just making sure that you are actually disciplined, focused, and you're constantly grinding on your priorities so that you're knocking them out. You're not getting distracted by anything else. You mentioned earlier that you had like the shiny object syndrome, right? So you're bouncing from one thing to the next. My question to you is, and I apologize if you mentioned this before, but I think it's really important to hit on, how did you know what market to focus on? When you're starting to talk to Omar, you said you got that first deal with that first phone call. Like, how did you know what to focus on for your first deal? Because I think a lot of people, me included, talking to a lot of other people, we're waiting on our first deal so that we could actually start beginning that acceleration, right? So that first deal is the one thing that's setting us off, because without that first deal, it's kind of theory. It's not possible. We're seeing a lot of people do it, but because it's not happening to us, it's still kind of conceptual. So how did you know to focus? Like, how do you know what to focus on?
Well, I built a community. That was the first strategy. And so I don't go and do leads. I'm like a free agent. They drop on my lap every day. Every deal that I've ever closed now, nothing. I've never paid for leads. Free, right? Wait till I start coming up and clear my debts and actually have cash flow. I mean, we got some good spreads. I made 110 grand spread on one deal. I have like another 65 on one. We got a lot of deals. You know, we're at like $2 million worth of properties now. Like I'm up over these next 60, 90 days. I'll never have to struggle again. But what happened was I leveraged myself, put myself out there to be the closer, and they fall on my lap. So that was one of the first things. Was it wasn't me going hunting and picking a market, right? Though I do have markets that I buy in now, I didn't go and do it that way. I wanted to ramp it up, right? I wanted to make it easier for me, but I made a couple of mistakes by accepting VA leads or cold leads at first. And then when I realized we're wasting a lot of time doing this shit, let me get people to send me their warmer, hotter leads, and let me get better, and let me start recording live calls, and let me put it out there. And so really my journey is a little bit different than the majority of you. I went out there, built a community, and leveraged myself. And here's one thing you guys got to look at. If you're new to business, if you're new to sales, and you're new to real estate, then oh shit, that's a trifecta that you have to learn. I learned sales. I learned business. I learned negotiation at a high level. My brother, Stephen Robinson, was a closer for so many years. He taught me how to cut a tree with a chainsaw type of shit, right? So coming in, I had a real advantage. I knew how to sell. I knew how to talk. I knew how to close and negotiate. And then I was also mature and made sure that I practiced on those skills, right? And here was one thing I believed very deeply. That was like a lot of that came together. Mine's a little different. If you're out there looking, for opportunities in the marketplace, I believe that you make a decision where you want what markets you want to be in, maybe one market that you live in, and then you pick a secondary market. And the thing is to hit it hard. Like, here's the thing, you guys are new business owners. So if you never became a high performer, you might just be like those business owners who go into business and then they go out of business next year because they have a good idea, maybe have a good product, but don't understand business or sales or client retention. They don't understand that, right? That's why you want to go and read and study. Patrick Bet David, he showed me just a simple strategy on how to read, right? If you really want to master shit as fast as possible, just pick a couple subjects and buy as many books as possible. So over the last two and a half years, I picked sales, negotiations, business, and taxes and economics, and loaded them up. So now, on top of me being sober, I worked for some Fortune 500 companies. I worked for a multi-level marketing company where I made it to that top level, and I go state to state and got my own piece of the pie and show other offices. So I took a lot of what I really learned and I started implementing them into my life, right? So when I came, like I said, I came prepared almost. I came like, okay, I looked at myself as like a Fortune 500 company. I created accountability sheets. My team has to give you my 30, 60, 90-day goals. I hold them accountable. My accountability sheets and my calendar and my alarm clock are all in tune every day. I have a 3-inch binder that I write down all my to-dos. And it looks like something as simple as this. And it's like checklists and stuff like that. And it'll say like to-dos, what are your goals for the day? What are your opportunities? What are your follow-ups? What's due today? What's your meeting? And what are the additional notes? But what I do is the mind likes when you can write things and then check them off. It's kind of like working out. At the end of the workout, you feel like you really did some stuff. If you check stuff off, your mind likes that. But I'm now professional, like a real business. They track themselves, KPIs or whatnot, right? I don't have money to afford anything. So I'm tracking my own shit, right? I didn't let me not having money fucking slow me down. So actually, I tracked the last 4 fucking months every single day of what I've done. And I've seen why I've made mistakes. And I've seen why I was able to buy 9 properties in the last 6 weeks because of the amount of fucking prioritized to-do tasks and meetings and to-do lists and follow-ups that I put in here. And then I went out and got 90% of them done. I never get 100% done. But then what you don't get done, the next day you roll it in. So I'm professional because I'm remembering what I'm supposed to do from the night before. When you start getting busy, you drop the ball. When you're new and you don't know business and sales, you're learning so much shit. It's like going to a buffet and putting all types of shit on your plate and you never get to finish any of it because it's too much for you to consume. That's what happens. So really, if you want to ramp this shit up, learn a little bit about business, learn a little bit about negotiation, and learn what real estate is and questions pertinent to it. And that'll really ramp yourself up. Put in the work.
Okay, good deal. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Good questions. Good questions. Mikey, how you doing, man?
How you doing, Mitch?
Good, good. What you got for us?
Bro, dude, my hat's off to you. It's amazing how also I've been in the business for so long and iron sharpens iron, and we have to be very aware of who we're surrounding ourselves with because they're influencing us. We like it or not, you can't serve 2 masters, You can't have 2 destinies. It's one or the other, and it's going to be based off of our decisions. My question to you is, when you deal with failure, now that you're a changed person, I'm pretty sure your old you always comes back, tries to convince you that you're wrong, and you get depressed. And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that emotion?
Yeah, well, actually, no, I don't. I actually am very acceptable now. For the first 2 years, when you become very positive and optimistic, your mind shifts to the super positive optimistic. But when you fail, you get really butthurt because you feel like, holy fuck, I'm super optimistic now, I'm positive. But what you fail to realize is, oh shit, you're still not the best student, meaning you don't know how to do everything precisely. You're still a kid at what you're doing, right? So after 2 years of me then priming things, it became easier. So when I know that, like the saying I said earlier, you can't be great at something when you start at something, meaning there's gonna be times for you to fail. I understand that shit. I don't look at it like I'm ever gonna quit or lose though. I know that I'm gonna fail. Like I know I'm gonna have opportunities now that I just did this multifamily. I know I'm gonna fuck up a couple times trying to get lenders and all that, but I'm okay with that. You know, a part of what helped me out was what I didn't find a mentor just yet, or role model. I went out there and took action, and I would make a mistake, and I knew that I could do it if I did it right. So I would just go back and make sure I didn't make that same mistake, but I would make a second mistake. And eventually you make 3 or 4 mistakes, and every time you try to switch it, you'd find the correct way. And that really helped me out. So it's like, my mind now does not think that I'm a loser or I'm gonna fail. I know that I'm gonna mistake, and I am gonna not make it happen on the first or second round. I don't know how to lose anymore. I don't know. That's the honest truth. Is I primed my mind. The strongest thing I have, the biggest power I have, is my imagination, and that's really what it is. I don't know how to lose. I literally now am connected to a lot of people where I know that on top of me being strong and confident, I now have people that fucking know what to do. So I definitely know that I'm not gonna lose. But that's how I look at it. That's how it's changed now for the last, like, especially over the last 2.5 months, where now I started to acquire and there's a part, this is a part, what happens, this is probably gonna answer your question. There's a part where you're super positive and optimistic, and you're trying very, very, very hard to make it, and you keep falling and you keep failing and you keep fucking up and you get even sour almost. There's a part where you ask yourself, is this life ever really gonna happen for me? Am I ever gonna make it? And that's where I got to. And I just remembered that one day I was gonna make it, and I continued to believe and walk through it. And then over the last 4 or 5 months, it started to shift. But there was that time when I ran out of money and everything, and even though I was positive, you get depressed. Hell yeah. Especially when you live a bad lifestyle in the past, and you're a humble man now. You know what? When you weren't humble, when I wasn't humble, I was blindsided. I didn't know how bad I was hurting people. When you get humbled, you realize all the pain you've ever consumed, or all the people you ever hurt. That's like in the front of your mind now. That's what I deal with. I don't deal with ever losing again. I deal with, holy shit, I was such a piece of shit. How can I become a beautiful human being and change their life? I don't ever feel like I'm never gonna not win at what I do. I know that I won't make it right away, but it's more about how I handle the depression. Is I keep it in the front of my mind. As weird as that sounds, it's up here, so I make sure that I'm working towards it, so I never feel like this shit again. And that's where I'm at right now.
That's beautiful, bro. And one thing I've learned in this industry is that you have to be aware of your emotions. And that if you're not aware of your emotions, then you control the world, or the world controls you. And by that, what I mean by that is you control your emotions, or you're just going to react. And I have realized that if the more aware you are about your emotions, that's going to give you a perspective, and it's going to give you an emotion that you feel. So whatever you're focusing on, you're going to feel. And whatever you feel is what you're going to put out, the energy you're going to put out. Whatever you put out is going to determine your action. And whatever action you put out is going to determine your future. So you're absolutely correct. I mean, we got great leaders like Mitch. You got Gary here. You got Richard here. Man, these men are taking time out of their day and try to lead us. But you guys have to want it. The only thing they could do is give you a perspective, a thought, a tool. But if you guys don't take that action, I know it's simple, but it's hard. I feel like I want to cry, because it's so much behind that. You know what I mean? So many emotions behind that. And yeah, your imagination is going to abuse you, or are you going to use it to your advantage? And if you can't control your emotions, your imagination is going to beat you up, because everything negative is just going to pop up in your head. And that's whatever you're imagining is what you're going to put out and you're going to attract. That's amazing. I just want to say thank you to all you guys. Thank you, brother. Thank you, all these leaders, our accountability leaders. Man, you guys need to reach out to them, you know, like really. You guys, they have their own groups. I have my own group. Everybody, there's like 5 or 6 people that are in my own group that's here right now, just supporting, you know, because we need to support each other, because this is not easy. And it hurts. You know, every time when we're not where we want to be, it hurts. So I don't want to talk your guys' ear off. I'm just so thankful. I just want to make sure you guys, leaders, Gary, Richard, Mitch, everybody's on here. You, brother, you know what I mean? You guys are just giving us a perspective. But what does it matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Mikey. Always appreciate your heartfelt insights. Appreciate you, man. Dustin, good evening.
You know, Mike, I appreciate that, man. You know, I'll tell you this is that what I've learned is if you don't believe in yourself, you got nothing going for yourself, meaning that those who say they can't and those who say they can are both right. And you know who I don't fuck with anymore and waste my time, because my time goes 2 ways, wasted or reinvested in not a return on my investment, but on themselves. I don't fuck with people who don't believe in themselves because they don't see that they got nothing going on for them. That's what they truly believe. You're wasting your time. You know what? Give it to the people who believe in themselves and want more and who are hungry. That's the people who are going to get after it. And so if you believe you don't have nothing, you'll never have nothing. Your subconscious mind will train it that way as well. Train your mind that you have it all. I've been believing, and I'm glad that I stuck with it, because it's a miracle. You know, that your imagination is a preview of what's to come in life, and you got to get excited. Like now that I'm stepping in proximity, I don't think I've ever felt more emotional over the last 4 years, because things are really shifting, especially me going through the struggle that I am going through. Just to be able to give a text message to my mom and like my siblings that I put through hell, that hey, in 12 months time you guys will be retired. I mean, you know, that's amazing to me, and I'm glad that I did what I did, and I hope that you guys put a little bit of action in there and go and change your life, man. Find out, go get yourself so wealthy that you can give more than you've ever dreamed of. That's the type of shit that I'm trying to get to. What's up, Dustin? My man. I love you, Dustin.
Hey.
This guy's awesome.
Love you too, fam. Isn't that right, man? It's the overnight success, you know, the 20-year, 10-year overnight success, right? Just look at the highlight reel instead of what's going on. But man, thank you for sharing everything. I learned a couple things. But yeah, I think that just paints a pretty picture on the fact that, you know, no matter what is going on in your life, man, just perseverance is key. I think when I started all this, my son was born at 2.2 pounds, spent 120 days in the NICU while having a 2-year-old toddler going through sleep regression, waking up for 3 hours every single night, back and forth to the hospital, 7 surgeries later. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in life. You know, count your blessings and just keep pushing forward, all while running 2 other companies. So, you guys got it. Carlos has got a long story. Everybody's got a story, but your message, you know, use it and utilize it. Start with micro successes. That's going to build the confidence. Everybody's kind of, I want that one deal. I want to get to that one next one. But each day, every little action that you take is a success. And that's going to carry forward that momentum, that confidence. You know, just check those little boxes before you start looking at that final goal at the end. And you'll get there. It can be daunting when it's just sitting back there, man. But thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. You've got an amazing story, and you know very well I've got a very wide network, and I fill it with very, very people I vibe with, people with the right mission, and really glad that I met you, you and Omar. You know, I vibe with you guys. I resonate with you, and we're gonna build an empire, and we're gonna make good things. But thank you so much for that.
Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate you, man. Always from the beginning, man. And you're a big believer in me too. It's real cool. You know what happens is it wasn't until shit started happening for me till motherfuckers started dropping in even faster, right? People have to see to believe it, right? Well, before I had it, a few people believed in me as well. I sold the dream and I knew how to talk, right? Well, they stuck with me. They believed in me before I had it, and they're still with me. I love it. Now I get a lot of people because they didn't know me that are jumping in my DM. That's totally cool. But there's some motherfuckers there that didn't really believe in me, but now they see me getting shit done, and now they want access. And hey, it's totally cool with me. I don't care. I realize everything. I recognize every shit that happens.
What's the timeline on that, right? It's like Ed Milet says, it's the guy, the Uncle Stu or whatever, that's just like, oh, you made that first million yet? Oh, you made that first million yet? And when you do, they're like, what, 30 years older than you? Oh, you made that first million yet? I have. They're doubting you and doubting you and doubting you until you get it. And they're like, oh, you got a little bit of money. You got a little bit of information. You got a little bit of this. But there's, that's going to be a given. That's going to happen no matter what. You just got to keep moving. You got it. I believe in you wholeheartedly, man. You're moving, you're making moves. And the fact that I can be a part of that and watching it is great.
Yeah, let's get super wealthy, guys. Let's do this shit.
Let's do it all together. Yeah.
Look at my man, the guy who introduced me to it all, right? This motherfucker right here is like a miracle to me, right? You know how we fucking met? We both grew up in the same streets. We never knew each other. 4 years ago, both of us happened to change our whole lives. A revelation happened to both of us. We both lived a whole different lifestyle. And we still didn't know each other, but we became believers. We met at a free seminar, at a Damon John seminar in fucking Palm Springs. And we ran into each other and we decided we wanted to be accountability partners ever since. We started a book club and him and I believed into each other the entire time for the last 4 years. This motherfucker made it to the next level too. I'm so excited because I'm coming for you, Omar. But it's so cool to have that shit. I'm excited and thank you so much, Omar. There's your intro, Omar.
Well, listen, bro. I mean, the credit here goes to you. Like the amount of things that you accomplished in the past 8 months, you literally are the definition of a compound effect. So I just want to give you a round of applause. Everybody, round of applause for Carlos because, it's not about me. It's about you because you actually put in the work. You know what I mean? There's countless people that I've talked to and, I've introduced Rich Dad Poor Dad to, and I've introduced him to real estate, but you're one of the few that actually took the action and has come this far. I mean, look at this. You have like 100 people right here on a Wednesday evening, coming to listen to you, and you're being so transparent. You're being so open. I mean, that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of guts, for you to tell your whole story. You have a really beautiful story, bro. So, I mean, you got to thank yourself. You got to give yourself credit. The credit is not for me. The credit is for you, bro.
Thanks so much, bro. I know that my future self is going to pat my young self on the back for doing the decision I made, man. But yeah, Omar, thank you so much. You're like an inspiration to me as well, man. And let people know where you are now, from when you started, and what you do and how big your team is, and excite some people to see what opportunities people have.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm in Florida now. I'm in the Miami area. I kind of started from nothing. Also, about 5 years ago, I had a back accident, and I used to be in the landscaping industry. Working hard out there. Just minimum wage and all that. And when I had that accident, that's when I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I just dove all in. That's kind of when we met at the Damon Johnson event. And boom, just going in, just digesting everything that I could from real estate, and started buying rental properties also. So have a little portfolio of 9 units, and just focus right now on building like a real business out of it, becoming the CEO, and not just like being a business manager. So we got a team of about 13 people. Looks like it's going to be 14. We may hire an extra person. So we got about 4 people in-house, and the rest are all virtual assistants. We work pretty close with them. You know, we're gonna break $1 million this year as a company as a whole in revenue. So that's my little story right here. I don't really want to like take away your life, but yeah, real estate has changed my entire life, my wife's life, my parents' life. You and I are the one. Like Ed Milet says, yeah, we're the ones. You know, I know you're the ones. Yeah, we're the ones. You know, we're the ones that are forever gonna change the trajectory of our life, for our family, of our family tree and everything. If it wasn't because of real estate, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. You know, real estate has changed my life. It's the most beautiful thing on earth, you know, as far as what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Thank you for showing up, man. I'm just appreciative that you're a part of my journey and that you were able to validate it, just to see, guys, that everything's legitimate. I've been working. We've been trying. We're young. We just became believers. It took us 2-3 years for us to get efficient at believing. We made a lot of mistakes thinking we were going to do things right. So you get bummed out because you're new at being a believer in yourself. But we stuck with it, you know, and Omar stuck with it, and he's like another year or so into real estate further than I am. So I can't wait for the next 12 months to come catch him, you know?
Well, I'll tell you something, bro. I mean, you have truly impressed me. Like, I think in this amount of time, you already caught up to where I am, bro. Like, I gotta keep my foot on the gas, because at the pace that you're going, you're gonna surpass me by the end of the year.
Hey, you know, the crazy thing is, I know. The crazy thing is that's funny that I said, but the crazy thing is, like I said, Omar, you work hard, but if you're not out disciplining me because you do work just as hard as me, I might catch you this year, buddy.
Yeah, no, you're already there,
That's
bro.
all it is,
You're
doggy.
already there.
That's proof right there. He works very hard. He went to what's that fucking challenge that you went to? That fucking
the
crazy.
modern day night challenge with Bedros, 75-hour intensive Navy SEAL. You guys should, all you men out there that want to level up in your mindset, go look up MDK project with Bedros. That stuff will break you. MDK, I'll put it in the chat. You guys
some fucking Navy SEAL training for 75 hours. This fool went and did it this year. He's a hard worker. He's a competitor. He is somebody that will compete against me at a high level. So that's why I also know, since he's already working just as hard and outworking most people, I'm gonna go out discipline him so I can try to catch him quicker. I gotta do a little bit more than he's doing just to catch him.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need. We need just healthy challenges in our life, right? You know, you're after me, I'm after you. Let's keep leveling up. I mean, we got to start doing some deals together now. You know what I mean? We got to start seeing how we can help out more closely, because I'm very impressed with what you have going on, bro.
Thanks, bro. I just got my first house in Florida too, so I'm coming. We'll be out there.
Yeah. Come over here. You got your house. Mi casa y su casa.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Omar. Love you, bro, so much.
You got it. All right,
Omar,
bro.
thank you.
Love.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. You guys have a great man right here.
Got it. Any final questions? Carlos, want to thank you on behalf of everyone. This was an amazing call. We're going to have this uploaded tomorrow. We'll get you a copy. Thank you very much. We're going to be doing more together. Let me ask you, if people want to reach out to you, how do they reach you?
Instagram, Facebook, my phone number. Here, let me just put it.
Please put it in the chat for us.
Sure.
And everybody, please give a thank you to Carlos in the chat for coming on tonight and sharing his story. This was amazing. And for those of you who are not part of the SubTo group, this is the Socal Accountability Group. We do our accountability calls every Wednesday night. Next Wednesday, we're going to be partnering up with the New York SubTo group. And Gary, who I think just left, is going to be leading an underwriting session. So that's going to be a good one. Don't miss that. And then I'd like to bring on my co-leader, Mr. Richard Knowles, who wants to talk about some pretty cool stuff we have going on with Creative JV. Richard, please tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mitch. But first, I want to say thank you to Carlos, man. That was an amazing story. You know, I almost teared up a little bit. You know, we all go through struggles. We all have roller coasters in our lives. and just seeing how you broke through all those struggles, those challenges, obstacles, no matter where you come from, whether it's a rough neighborhood, whether it's even, a rich person, whatever, everybody has their own struggles. So I thank you for being transparent and sharing your story. It was truly amazing. I think we have like a movie on this, man, like on Netflix or HBO. Like it's that amazing. So I appreciate you, Carlos, leader. So I want to talk about the meetup. So Pace Moby is going to be in town in San Diego the last week of September and first week of October for the Bigger Pockets Conference on October 2nd to 4th, I believe. So we have a meetup on September 29th in San Diego. I'll post a link in the chat here. So if you guys are in LA, Southern California, please come by to this meetup. We'll do like a meet and greet, and Pace Moby will be there. So it'll be a great opportunity to network and meet each other. So we also have a meetup in LA, downtown LA, coming up on October 13th. So that will also be posted on the meetup website as well. I'm going to post a link here, www.socaljv.com. So if you become a member, you'll be notified of any events that we have. So we have Creative JV combined with SubTo. So it's a great way to network and meet SubTo students and listen to great speakers like Pace Moby, right? So it's pretty exciting. The man, the myth, the legend, Pace Moby will be here September 29th. So hope to see you there. Yeah.
Beautiful. Tia, did you want to add anything about our meetups?
I would say, Creative JV, it's Mitch, Richard, and then Mike Imbriglio and Steve Anderson and myself. And we, we're doing these 2 meetups twice a month. So, I mean, it's great to have everybody who's part of SubTo, but it's really also opening it up to each one of those communities in terms of other investors in that area and getting to know other people outside of SubTo. So it's a great opportunity to bring people and to, meet other people in those markets. So we're really pushing to get people in LA to come, in San Diego. The 5 of us we're working on, bringing in speakers that will really, forward the agenda of learning more and getting people in partnerships. So, it's also the opportunity to bring deals in if you, have deals in those areas that you want to expand upon and get, get us involved in whatever deals you've got that you need support with.
Appreciate that, T. And Richard just made a great comment. We have not announced that Pace is coming to San Diego, so you are the first to know about this, other than Pace and a handful of others. So we hope we see you all there.
Yeah, sweet. Definitely be there. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and we've got a really great new venue as well in LA, so that's going to be really great in terms of it's at a outdoor space as well as indoor, so it's pretty great.
Beautiful. Everybody, want to thank you for another great SubTo accountability call. Thank you, everybody. Carlos, thank you very much. Omar, thank you for all you've done. Appreciate you all. Appreciate everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Good night, guys.